Welcome, listeners, to the Dream Stream. I am Yiskah Cook.
And I am Ellen Ronis.
Great to see you, Ellen.
And great to see you. We took a little hiatus. It's been a while.
It has been a little, well, you were doing your workshop that you've
I
been working
was.
towards. I'll
Yeah.
definitely want to hear about that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, and well, I think you said you have a dream. So if it's okay with you, I'd love to start with a dream and let that be our jumping off.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I don't know why I feel like I want to say this. So I have a friend who's, I don't know, she's more Jungian style. She's a psychotherapist and she does Jungian style dream work. And whenever we talk about dreams, she'll ask me like, who is that in your like who is the like I had a dream about her and her name happens to be Nina. So I was like, so she said, well, who is Nina in your own soul? And I loved that question.
And that's beautiful.
And that
That's
is
an,
kind of how I want to look at things. Like, who is
I
that person for my own?
I feel
Um,
like that is how you look at things.
yeah,
We didn't
I
have
think
the
it is.
language. We
I
just
think
didn't
it
have
is.
that language.
I guess I'm saying that because sometimes the lightning dream work is so great for a lot of reasons, but
Yes,
sometimes, in my opinion, it feels a little bit limiting,
yes,
not quite as deep as I always,
yes,
I'm like a deep diver, just
yes.
for whatever that's worth. I'm just grabbing my notebook up, which is right over here. Anyway, I just because it just kind of came up for me with her.
Yes,
I just wanted to say that.
yes. I
Um,
think the lightning dream work, um, created by Robert Moss, our teacher, is great for just getting people talking about their dreams,
yes,
opening
it's
it up. But then I think if one starts like that, but it was an important dream for him or her, that it is really good to go back into it.
yeah, to really kind of start to question the details,
Yes,
what
yes,
what things felt like, and who is that, and what does that mean for you, and
yes,
yeah, like really get into the what I would call like the psychology,
exactly. I was just going to say, because I've had three main dream work teachers, and whereas I would consider Robert Moss really a shaman, his
Mhm. I think so.
depth is incredible. And whereas Dr. Stephen Larson is a therapist, he's a psychologist, and Jeremy Taylor was a universalist minister.
Oh,
So I felt like they each brought something a little different, and that hopefully I've used all of their ideas and
yeah.
turn it all together.
I think for sure. I mean, I don't think there's really no system.
And there's no wrong way to
There's no wrong
explore
way
your
in this.
dreams.
Exactly. It's just, you just keep poking around until something finds like a meaning, until
That's
you
right.
find something that feels significant or meaningful or
Exactly.
useful, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, so yes, I think you do a great job of synthesizing all sorts of different things. And I tend to come from a more psychological perspective, the more Jungian thing. So
But I
that's,
also feel you're coming from also just a deep sense of creativity. So
mm,
I don't only hear like
yeah,
a system of dream work. I hear
no,
you
it's just me. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Well,
extrapolating from your life.
thank you. And I'm the same for you. I think, we're always doing that. I think we just come from whatever perspective we're coming from. And
Yeah.
yeah, some of it is input from others and some of it is just our own synthesizing of our own life experience.
Yes.
All right. All that being said,
Jump in.
so yeah, like I said, I've been having so many dreams, but I'm not remembering them because I've been having a really rough sleep period.
Mm.
And so I'm like, whoa, that was an interesting one. And then I go right back to sleep. So I haven't been writing them down, but I did write this one.
Okay, one.
Um,
Is this last night's dream?
Night. Yeah, yeah.
Hot
So
off the presses.
hot off the press. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I haven't really had a chance to kind of look at it myself. I'm in a large suburban home, kind of like a big mini McMansion type house in that kind of neighborhood.
Okay.
Um, and I think it's my old housemate's house, but it isn't doesn't look anything like their house, and it doesn't feel like it's here in New Mexico, but it seems to be that it's their house, and they're having a big giant party. And I'm in one of the bedrooms, and because I think I had gone back because I forgot my shoes or something, and I have these purple Crocs that I wear in the house, and so I was wearing those, and I went to this back bedroom to get my shoes because I was going to leave, and I'm in this room, and it's very dark, and it's very messy with clothes and shoes and stuff just strewn all over this bedroom. And Jen, the owner of the house, my ex housemate, comes in, and I start telling her about how sad I feel, and she kind of puts her hand on my back, and I kind of scooch over to her for more, like I wanted more, stroking and physical connection, and it was feeling so good, but she kind of recoiled and pulled away like I was being too needy. And
Mm.
yeah, that felt really awful. And then I leave, I go down this hallway, and as I'm halfway through the hallway, a person who reminds me of my niece and my nephew mixed together, Addie and Tegan kind of mixed together somehow. I'll say more about them in a little bit. But it just looks like a combination of the two of them. And they give me this piece of paper or like an advertisement. And I don't know what it is. It's like for a theater show or some kind of a performance or an art thing. And they say, kind of in this very, oh, what was the expression? Like, not arrogant, but like they knew something, like a sage, put it down on this desk and said, pointed to it and showed it to me, and they said, like, this is gonna help you find your way in the world or something like that. And so I picked the thing up. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I take it and I go outside, and I realize I forgot the shoes that I originally went to back to, to find. So I knock on the door again, and some man comes to the door. I described him interestingly as a white cis blonde guy. Like, why would I describe him that way? It's so funny. Instead of just saying a white guy, I was like white
Yes.
cis. I know, no, I know why though, and I'll share more about
Okay.
that. So he enters the door. I don't know who the heck he is. He's totally unfamiliar to me, but he apparently was at the party, and he was kind of like not wanting to open the door for me because he thought I was some kind of random. I had one Croc on. I had lost one Croc running down the hallway, and also forgot the original pair of shoes that I went to get. And so I must have looked like a homeless person or something. I don't know. And he's like, "Who the hell are you?"
An
Anyway,
everyday hobo.
like he lets me, and I go down the hallway. Still, everything feels dark. A lot of rooms, a lot of bedrooms, and they're all dark and sort of messy and dusty, um and I find the shoes, and I sort of realize, oh, and I also forgot this piece of clothing, and I start to sort of bundle up some clothing and shoes and walk out of the house with this bundle, and I think I still forgot. Oh, and then I forgot the one Croc that I had left in the hall. So it was all this, like, I kept forgetting what I originally came to get, and I'm like, one shoe and these shoes and those shoes and, oh, these clothes, and it was like, it was very chaotic and very uh like, what's the word, frustrating, but more than that, like, it was almost like when you're running and you can't get anywhere kind of feeling.
Yes.
I was just like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I can't believe I forgot how to go back.
Yes.
And then when I get into the place, I can't quite remember what I'm supposed to be doing, and like I'm distracted. And um
I feel that this is a common theme for you. Maybe not common, but we've seen this before. But I don't even want to start analyzing you at all. I still want to hear from you about this theme. How did you feel when you woke up?
oh, like, ah, like that, like
Like
that, whatever
January.
that word, I don't know. Annoyed. Like, I felt annoyed that I had a dream.
Yeah.
It's so unclear. It's so messy. It's so dark.
Dark.
It's so like, what am I doing here? Like, I forgot this old pair of shoes. It's like nothing felt fresh, new. There was no new idea. I mean, it's like, what? This is,
Yes.
I prayed for some clarity, and that's what I got. So,
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. And that is a little bit how I'm feeling, particularly about this project that I've been working on and will continue
Yes. Oh,
working on.
good. It will lead to that
So
conversation.
it will lead to that
Good
conversation.
segue. But before we go there,
Mhm.
let's do a reality check. If
Yeah.
so, you were going to tell me about your niece and your nephew.
Yeah. So the house itself just reminded me of some, I don't even, no one I really know actually has a house like that, but you know, those McMansions with the big
Mhm.
giant grassy yard and the big circular driveway, very
Mhm.
plain looking, but big, you know, the kind of house I'm talking about, like a kind
Yes,
of a
I do.
wealthier neighborhood and like nobody I know lives in a house like that. But it that could definitely exist in reality for sure.
Yes.
It reminded me a little bit actually of my ex brother-in-law's house. They lived in a
Okay.
house like that, very very much like that.
Is your niece or nephew his child?
No,
Yeah.
no, it's my brother. Those are my brother's kids. So the niece slash nephew person, um, my nephew, as I mentioned before in other podcasts, is a trans man, female born Matt, however you say that, transition to male.
Yes.
And my niece, my youngest niece, is now called is a they now. So
There you go. There's the
it's all
pronouns.
fine and good, and it's
That's
just
why
like,
he
oh,
was cis.
okay.
That's
That's
why he
why
was a cis white
that's
man.
why I described this man as white cis blonde, because it was like a description, like this
Yeah.
is the best I can do to
Yeah.
discriminate from somebody else. So anyway, just interesting that the person was a combination of those two things. So
Yes.
what would I make of that? Um, those two are, like doing the best to live their truth. That's what I would say. They're just really, and it's not an easy journey. I don't think those are easy journeys. I mean,
May I ask how old they are?
Tegan, I think is, let's see, 26 or 7, kind of losing track.
They're
And
both in their 20s.
Annie's a little bit younger. She's like 2 years younger. So in their
So,
late 20s.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love them both. And, there's issues and, whatever family dynamic, it's a difficult
Or,
family circumstance, but that wasn't in the dream. The dream was that these two individuals somehow like morphed into one person, and they're both sort of in this process of just being who they are, just 100% being like who they are. And
so inspiring. I'm so
it
inspired by this generation.
really is. And never mind that I don't know how either one of them is actually going to make any money, but that's like my father's voice,
Yeah.
because they're doing interesting things, but anyway, whatever. um, but I am really dazzled by the fact that they're just totally living their truth. At least they're doing their best to do that, is how
Yes.
it seems on the outside, looking in.
Yes.
And I think that there's a part of me that wants to be, that hopes I'm doing that, but that of course I have so many layers of analysis and judgments and societal things about, yeah, I need to make a certain amount of money and blah
Yeah.
blah blah, all that. So it feels harder for me to do that. And also, I'm not even sure what my truth is.
Yeah.
So,
So I first thing I'm thinking of, and I'm thinking of this in all of its metaphoric ways, which we will discuss. Walking in your footsteps, walking in your footsteps. So that's just came to me. But whose shoes am I walking in? Is my question. Whose shoes am I walking in? I'm learning from my younger Gen Z
mhm.
family, and I am somehow I'm forgetting, and then I even lose one of my Crocs. I forgot my shoes, and then I got another article of clothing because I think I'm just in the dark here. And if it's my dream, I am questioning what is my truth. These two kids who, or this kid who, what does he say? She say, follow your truth.
They say, yeah, something like that. Came out of the handed me a flyer. This might help you decide your future, or something like that.
Yeah.
wrote. So I don't remember the exact words.
Yeah, so I feel like there's a piece of me that's a little reluctant to take advice from them because I'm their elder. Like, well, wouldn't I have advice to give them? But as I'm learning, the older I get, the the more I see the wisdom in the youth, and what they know is very important to know,
I
you know?
agree. I agree. I think that they've just, every generation has something different that they have to kind of overcome or go through or transform, or transcend. Like every generation has something different, and whatever it is that they've had to do, to get to where they are, I
Yes,
think it's it's gotten them to a place where that is something like the truth,
yes.
yeah, I'm not
It's
sure what
their truth, their truth.
I'm not reluctant to actually to do to mm, yeah, I'm not really reluctant to kind of
Okay.
take that as
Yeah.
advice, as a guide, because
Yes.
it is in my dream world, so it's not every
Yes.
thing. Um,
So
but
what
I
did you say? So it's not what?
it's not real in waking life thing. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
in the world of spirit, right? It's the world
Sure.
of spirit is showing me this through
Yes.
the imagery of dreams. So it's not like my nephew calling me up and saying, I think you should really blah blah blah.
Right.
This will help.
It's the
Because
hymn of me. What was it that the Yolnian dream worker had said? What in your soul reflects. What did she say? It was a way of saying you are every figure in your dream, but she said it in different language.
oh, I
You
don't
know,
remember
you don't
specifically.
remember. Okay.
No,
So
yeah, but each
something about your soul reflecting your nephew, your niece, your
different aspects of your reality or your truth.
yes, yes,
Yeah. So if I could, I mean, that is how I look at it. Is that they are some
yes,
so they are somehow living their truth in that way, in the way that they
yes,
really
yes,
kind of deep dive into the gender
yes.
question, let's just say, and then decide, or feel into like this is what's true. This is what's true. This is how I want to live.
And from transformation, you said a couple of trans words, and I just wanted to add transgender. You
And
know,
gender
it's there's a lot happening in the world.
sure is. There sure is. Yeah. And yes. So that's interesting. Like what, if I'm in this dark place and I'm confused and I'm picking up these shoes that are mine, but they're sort of old. They're like these old brown leather scratched up things that I don't even really recognize, but they're mine in the dream. So yeah, and the Crocs are the shoes that I wear like inside my house, like slippers. So that's I don't know whatever
Your
the meaning of that
inside shoes.
inside shoes. Um, so it's like maybe I'm trying to, I'm trying to like pick up something that's old, something that doesn't really want to be picked up because I kept forgetting it. That's
Yeah,
so interesting. As I kept forgetting it, I would get distracted by all this other like chaos, but like I could not really. It wasn't important enough for me to just pick up the shoes and go. That there was like I am something about that. It's like it doesn't want to be picked up. That's kind of interesting.
that's very interesting.
That works well. Yeah, that totally works with all this new project actually now that I'm thinking about
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for
it.
me, I feel like I just read this somewhere. Um, or maybe I saw it in a movie or something, but I feel like I'm spun so deeply in this cocoon. It's so dark. And where do I go from here? And voices telling me, break out, figure out what I need. So I'm right now in a cocoon
Mm,
and I have yet to
mm,
metamorphose.
mm. Yeah, metamorphosize. Yeah, that feels like about right. That feels about right in some ways. I mean, I like looking at it like that because then there's some hope, you know, of growing into something else.
Yes. Yes.
One of the reasons I haven't been sleeping well is I'm waking up, I don't know how many times during the night. And every time I wake up, I'm just like, oh my God, I sort of feel trapped. Even though I'm moving forward with some interesting things in life, I feel trapped in a certain kind of way. Um, that's maybe for another time. I'm not really, you know, sure how much into that I want to go, but so I prefer to think of it as I'm trapped in the in the
In the
cocoon.
cocoon.
That eventually I'm gonna, and maybe yeah,
It's
just
like I'm not getting out of an escape room. I'm metamorphosing, metamorphizing.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah
Well, so you were saying there were some feelings from that dream that reminded you of the workshop. And I
yeah.
would like to invite you to please share whatever you want to share with us.
Thanks. Yeah, so I think that so I did the workshop that I had mentioned quite a few weeks or month ago or so. I did a 3 week new kind of a new work that I'm doing, and it is about it's working with women who have anxiety who
Hmm.
would like to not take medication. And I'm using, all right, let me see if I can let me the elevator
Yes.
pitch.
Okay.
I work with women who have anxiety by using the arts and movement as a way um, to alleviate anxiety and create calm and inner peace so that they can live their lives with less limitations.
Love it.
My elevator speech. And so,
We've been working on that for
yeah,
you,
for a
girl.
long time. Yes, and I know I've been working on that for a long time,
And
and
it
I
was
really
perfect.
needed working. Yeah, like the whole thing of it, the whole structure. It was a very, very intense process. I'm thrilled and proud of myself that I created the course. I presented the course. I produced it, presented it, and it's done. And I had 6 people sign up. I got one private coaching client out of it, which is
Hmm.
really exciting.
Yes.
We start next Tuesday. She was very up for like a package of, you know, sessions and really excited about it and really liked what we did in the class. I have 3 people in the class who actually wanted to move forward. They said it wasn't long enough, which is cool. So I'm trying to find out whether or not enough people want to group up and continue. And I'm now creating another course, very similar, but maybe a different thing.
Yeah, and
And
I think that'll just keep people coming because
I
they
hope so, but I also really need to I really, really need to find ways to kind of market it outside of my small group of
sure.
I need to do that. And that's the hard part. If you talk to anybody who's in a entrepreneurship or a small business, the
Yes.
marketing,
Yes.
especially if you're like an artist, a creative, a healer, like we don't like that kind of thing.
The
But
hard stuff.
you got to do it. You just got to do it. Yeah, that's all. Um, so how to connect that up with the dream is something about picking up these old shoes. Like if we're, I don't know, I don't really buy into the like the shoes is like the soul or whatever, but if we did,
Oh, the soul. That's good.
I don't really, people do that with shoes. I don't know. Anyway, that doesn't really work for me. But like even if I just look at it like picking up subject, like what if I were to have just let them go? And so what? I walk out in my Crocs. They're nice and comfortable. I don't need those old crappy shoes,
I don't
like
have my Crocs. I have my Croc.
my Croc. I had all that's true. Right. And it's
I think I
yeah.
need to get barefoot for
Why
this.
wasn't I going back for that one Croc or take both the shoes off? But there's something about going back and picking up the old shoes and then not only picking up, trying to find the old thing, but then being like, oh, right. And there was this old, whatever, schmata, some sweater or
Yeah.
some shawl,
Right.
like
Oh, yeah.
something that was in this messy, dark room that wasn't even mine, wasn't
I
even my
know.
room. It's almost like rummaging through the Goodwill bin or something.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm looking at all these old things, like it's like they're trying to recycle something old. So I think that there's a confusion in my mind about what is my truth, right? Like
Yes.
my niece and nephew person, like
Yes.
showing me their truth, and I'm like, what is my real truth? And I don't always, I know some things about myself. I know who I am, but what's the real truth of what I want to offer the world, and how, how do I actually truthfully see my way of doing that, instead of looking at the marketing way, and like how that all looks in the world. Like, can I find my own rhythm in that and be okay with it, not feel like I have to do it that way. Or and even like more than that is like the what of it, is the what of it what I really want to be doing. And I think
Yes.
that, sometimes we don't know, we have to just do it, and then just,
Yes.
that felt good, that didn't feel good,
That's
which is
right.
what I did the first time around. Some things felt good, some things didn't.
Well, it
So
was your second time, no? Or even
no, that
more.
was my first time. I mean, I did some other small workshops. I did a
No,
little.
I had done a workshop with you, a movement
Yes,
workshop.
that was the dance the dream workshop, but that was just like a,
Don't
I mean, not
don't
but
discount that.
I mean, I guess we could, although this work that I'm doing doesn't necessarily include the dream work. It could,
Yes.
actually, it could. And that's the other thing is, people keep saying you've got to like simplify a niche and make it like particular, but I am not that kind of person. I am very eclectic. I do dream work. I do pottery. I paint. I write.
Your
I dance.
dancer.
I do body work, etc., etc. I'm one of those people who does a lot of things, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
us in the world who do that. So I sometimes I'm not sure whether or not to combine all those things into something and use all those things as a tool towards a particular
I don't
concept.
think so. I'm thinking of different spiritual leaders and teachers that I've been drawn to over the years, and um, Carolyn Mace and Byron Katie, and it just seems like it can go wherever, but the niche you're signing up for is that this wise person has something that I seek. I want to learn from her. It doesn't have to be specifically on something, but oh, Carolyn Mace is going to be in town. I want to go and I'll find out what it's about later. You know what I mean?
Right, because she is who she, well, right, because people know her and they like
Yes,
her, like the way
yes,
she thinks or the way she approaches the world.
yes.
Right, exactly. But yeah, the world doesn't know me yet. So
But the people who have learned with you know you now.
yeah, the
So you could
five,
change.
I mean, it's
Five
just
of them, you said?
a very small group of people. But no, you're right. Actually, it's probably, if I look at the people who were in the other, that, the smaller workshops and kind of,
Yes.
you know, anyway,
That's an important part from what I hear about we have to collect an email list
yes,
to offer.
that is a very important part, especially of a newer business.
Yes.
Absolutely. So that's a whole thing. I mean, that's like, how do you even do that? I mean, I do know, but I don't want to get into the marketing stuff,
Okay.
but it's challenging. It's not the fun part of the whole thing. But it's the part that actually has to get done now. That's where I'm at now.
Yes. Yes.
This next iteration of the workshop, it needs to be done, because I need to like invite more than the 6 people who've already come, because I already know
Yes.
2 of them are coming. So then it's only possibly 4. And so I need there to be a bigger audience, and I need to learn.
Yes.
But
And you're looking, am I correct in thinking you're looking for more of an international audience that can
not
do it
necessarily, just
on?
not
Oh,
just it doesn't
okay.
have to be local because it's online. It could be international, but
Right, right. Oh, okay, yeah. Or so I guess what I mean is from afar could be. It's a
yeah,
pretty
not
big country.
necessarily
It
where
could be
I live.
national, big,
Yeah.
big land,
Although,
America.
one of the things that I've been thinking about too is, and I'm very much an in-person person. Like, I actually prefer to gather
Sure.
people and support them in talking about a certain thing, or just have more. I don't necessarily want to go down this road particularly, but I just want to say that sometimes I wonder, this whole online business, I'm questioning it for myself, but I don't know yet because it's still new and I have to do many iterations and just keep the business running before I can just decide whether or not I can really bring my whole personal self into,
Yes.
whether I can really bring people to me that makes it feel community, that makes it feel connected. Um, you know,
So, if I might say, I am a member of 2 dream groups that do meet in person, but they also have a Zoom element. So I don't have a car. I don't have a license actually. So I don't drive. And I can still, I can get a ride if that's something in the cards for me, but I can also just see everyone from the computer. So, one could do both. I mean, I've done both with Kol Hai as well. Kol Hai it's a Jewish Hevra who meets and have services, and they have it in person, but then they also have a Zoom element. Or I don't know if they use Zoom, but that sort of video element. And I think that works well for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I've joined it on Zoom.
Yes, yes.
Area.
Yes.
Yeah, anyway, the details of the business and how it is, it does, it's not important to put out in this way, but just to say, yeah, I think I'm just in the process of kind of teasing the threads of it all, like pulling it apart, like what
Yes.
works, not just in the actual training, in the actual what I'm presenting, but also in the manner in which I'm presenting it. Is this what I want to be doing? So, and again, we don't know until we just do it a bunch of times, and eventually we'll know this works or it doesn't work.
Right.
So that's just where I'm at. And I have a feeling that dream was just about showing me some things about that, and where my unconscious mind is in the process, which is a little bit murky and a little dark and something a little old, something
well,
not.
I'm interested to talk about the man who didn't want to let you back in.
Yeah.
Who's that for the dreamer?
Really don't know who this man is at all. He reminds me of, do you remember that show Frasier?
I can't believe you just said that. And I'll tell you why after.
So not Frasier, but his younger brother. Niles. He reminds me of Niles. This kind of like somewhat feminine, delicate, somewhat feminine, but very persnickety.
Yes.
So that's it. That is interesting. It's like, who is that person inside me?
Yes.
It's such an unfamiliar character for me, to be honest. So I'm not sure. So unfamiliar.
Ooh, something to look at and think about.
Totally unfamiliar. And so, blonde, doesn't, I don't know, just very different from anything that I could imagine even in my own unconscious. It's like persnickety, maybe, I could see that sometimes in me, but, or maybe it's like, he's like the gatekeeper.
Right. Yes.
Why him? I don't really know. But he does feel like a little bit like he's literally like I was kind of like pushing the door open and he was trying to push it closed. Like he really wasn't going to let me in.
Oh, Niles isn't that strong. You could overpower him. Sorry. Okay. So why I had such a strong reaction when you said Frasier is I watched a movie last night about him, Kelsey Grammer, and Kristen Bell. They were father and daughter, and then end up a whole host of chaotic things happen. And they end up on her honeymoon on a ship, I guess a cruise, and when I'm seeing, it just struck me as very coincidental because I hadn't thought of Kelsey Grammer or seen him in a long time.
That is pretty random.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Yep. It's in the ether somehow.
Yes. So if this were my dream, I would think there is a part of me, it truly is, that's trying to sabotage me, and I have to, welcome her to the table. What's that poem? The people who are at your table, to welcome her to my table, or him, blonde cis man. He's like, that's the most boring. I have heard white guys saying, there's nothing interesting here. Cis white man,
Totally.
And I'm kidding when I say that because I love cis white guys. They're my jam. But so this part of myself that's sabotaging me. So I want to just keep an eye on her, and I don't want to kick her to the curb. You know, she can stay, but we're gonna need to explore this because I I'm I'm ready to metamorphosize, and I could use as much goodwill and as many allies as I could get.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really juicy symbolism actually here.
To
The doorway, the gatekeeper,
yes, walk
chaos,
a mile in someone else's shoes.
like all of that always, I do have dreams with clothing and shoes and things that
Yeah, yeah. Robert Moss used to say when we dream of clothing, we're actually looking like who am I now? Like how do I
exactly,
present
exactly.
myself to the world?
That's why in a way it's kind of the strongest feeling I have about the whole thing is that I keep trying to come back to something. I forgot something. Let me go back there. And then I forget it again. And then it's like some part of me is saying, just don't take it. You don't need that. But I somehow think I have to, push the door back open to get back in. It's not even easy. Like, yeah, this kind of normalish guy, whatever, like but not,
But there's nothing for me here
yeah, there's
in this
nothing.
older house that I may or may not have lived in my dream, and um, where my shoes are, where there's a gatekeeper saying you may not return. So okay, so onward, ho! Like,
No, like walk your way away with one damn crock and forget the rest of the shit.
or take the crock off and just feel your feet on the earth, get your balance,
Hmm.
and move forward.
Forward, yeah. Yeah, that also reminds me, I was talking about anxiety and depression with a friend because I was sharing about my workshop, which, is focused on the anxiety piece. And she was saying she felt anxious and depressed and blah, blah, blah. I feel that also. I've been feeling pretty down. Um, and it, it's a choice, I think is what I want to say. Like, it's not a choice when you feel depressed. It's not necessarily a choice.
Right.
There's a downward spiral that I feel like I've learned to prevent. Like, I feel a little sad or I feel depressed, and then you kind of go down one level, and then, oh, and if I only had children or whatever, if I had a partner, if whatever, the why didn't I, the regrets and all that. And so I've learned to
Yes,
stop myself and just be like, you know what? You don't really have to go there. Like, yes, you feel sad,
that's
feel you.
old stuff.
Yeah, the old stuff is like it is old. It is an old pattern, and it doesn't mean sadness comes when it comes, right? But the stories and the spiral and the going down the rabbit hole is the old shoes. It's the old shoe
Yes.
in this
Oh, yes.
journey. The
Right.
old
There's
stuff
isn't there
that
an
I'm not.
expression like the old shoe? I mean, I don't know if there is or not. I feel like there's an expression about the old shoe that's like
Uh-huh. Comfortable as an old shoe. I think
comfortable, but the soul is worn off. Now I'm
yeah.
thinking soul. That was your take. But what else about shoes? I mean,
I
do
mean,
you ever walk barefoot?
yeah, I do, but it's not actually good for me to walk barefoot because I have some issues with my feet. So it's better for me to actually wear shoes. But so I don't often walk barefoot. Yeah. I mean,
I don't suppose you have many plush, grassy areas in
no,
Santa
very, very few. There are some, a few here and there. You have to kind of find them, but
Fe-
yeah, yeah. So I think, yeah, that feels like there's probably more to just sink into, but that feels
Yeah.
complete for
And
now.
what would you title the stream, or what will you title the stream?
I don't know. I don't do well with the titles. This is the part of the that type of dream exploration that I don't like. I mean, I think it's useful, but
Hey, I'm not asking you to make a bumper sticker, which is something Robert Moss
might,
likes to do.
you might after
So,
that.
all right, so if this is my dream that I'm needing to title, definitely has to be something about shoes. Leave the old shoes.
Yeah, leave the old shoes. That's exactly what I was just thinking when you said leave the old shoes.
Leave the old shoes. Yeah.
Leave them and
So do
go.
you remember what that piece of clothing was that last like
It felt like either
crumpled up?
a sweater or a shawl or something.
Okay. So yeah, really it's about leaving behind what doesn't serve me right now.
Yeah. 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 And realizing that I can get something new because
Yes.
all felt old. It all felt like, oh, I'll take this and this. It was almost like a lost and found or something. And I'm like, oh, I'll have this. Oh, yeah, I should take that.
They say sunlight is the best disinfectant. It's dark in this house
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's chaotic and maybe dirty. In my version of your dream, it
Yeah.
feels dirty.
Probably.
And 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 uh and then sunlight,
Yeah.
breathing,
Yeah.
air, there's possibilities.
Hmm. I think that's what I'm craving is something fresh and
Yes.
something that feels like joy, that feels like that little piece of joy, just something, a little pleasure, like something that doesn't feel like so much work. And like I have to keep trying to like dig in and
Yeah.
recycle things. It's like
Push
something,
the rock up the mountain.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Or like reinventing the wheel or
Yeah.
just, yeah, just wanting to have things a little bit, I don't even want to say easier. I just want them to feel lighter and a little more fun with a little more pleasure, and I think that's that actually feels like the ultimate truth about this.
Yes.
It's just like
Yes.
really longing
I
for
think it's the ultimate truth.
that.
Joy. Yeah. In the purest form of what that means.
Mm,
Filled
yeah.
with light, joy.
Yeah. I read an article in, I think it was the Washington Post, that was about, what did he call it? Joy bites? Joy bites. Right? Little bits of joy, like wherever we can get them, like just smell the flower, stop and smell the roses kind of thing, but
Sure.
consciously just take in that like one little moment, appreciating the smell of your coffee or your tea or, those little things.
It's
And
sensual.
it sounds so trivial, it sounds so trite in a way, but it's really like when you're down, when you're like in a shadowy place or a dark, like a sad place where you don't feel joy and you're like, I don't even know where to find it. And I have been feeling like this lately, to be vulnerable and honest, with whoever else.
Sure.
Um,
I love your honesty because I also experience things that you talk about, and hopefully, not hopefully, but definitely our listeners have
I think
some semblance of anxiety or
resonance
uh,
with that. I think
yeah,
people do resonate with. I really think everyone has some anxiety these days. I really do. Like regardless of the level of it or what kind of a person you normally are. These days, it just feels like there's a lot of anxiety running through
I
for a variety
agree.
of reasons. Big things happening in the world and planetary things and the actual like earthbound things and financial things and whatever. I think everybody's like there's a little insecurity about a lot of different things. So,
Agree.
and depression, it's all people, yeah, so many people struggle with it and they just put on a face and nobody knows and it's not like we should be like blabbing all over the place,
Right,
but
right.
but
No,
I
but
think
in a spiritual venue such as the Dream School,
and I want to be able to share and for people to be able to resonate like, oh
that's
yes, I have that too,
that's
and
perfect.
maybe I'll take a joy bite today, maybe I'll go
Yeah,
outside
I like that. I'll have to read that article.
in the grass or smell a flower. It's a little early for that. I know you guys are having snow, but whatever.
And
Appreciate
it's snowing at present.
it.
It's
Uh-huh.
snowing right now.
Which is also beautiful, right? I mean
It's
that I
it's it's beautiful. It's March.
it's enough already,
But we
maybe.
didn't have much of a winter. So
Yeah.
if this is our blast of winter, wonderful. It's
Hmm.
just that it's so wet and heavy snow. You
Yeah.
remember East Coast
I do.
storms.
I
It's
do. And I
very
know,
different from snowfall in Boulder.
yeah,
That's
the
hardly
fluffy,
even
the fluffy snow. I know what you mean.
fluffy.
Yeah, I
You
know.
couldn't wait to get out in that snow and cross country ski or whatever. This is
Yeah.
not that.
This is not that. This is probably really good snowman building though. Like when
Yeah,
it's
probably is. It would,
wet snow, it's usually good.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, joy bites, joy bites. Yeah.
Right. Yes. So, well, I want to thank you. And I super appreciate how open you are to sharing on the Dream Stream because, again, we are all connected. This is all of our experience
Yeah.
from the lens of Ellen.
Hmm. Yeah. Thanks for allowing me to share and be honest. And I
Yeah.
always hope that, when I share from that deeper heart space, that it's not just me being indulgent, but me sharing myself in the hopes that whatever it is that I discover is serving the people who are listening.
Yes. And I always feel like this can and hopefully does empower others to look at their own dreams and to have a regular practice of sharing their dreams with 1 or 10 friends um and use it as dreaming as a spiritual path because
Absolutely.
that's what it really is for me and for you
Mhm.
and can be for anyone who would want to pay attention to their dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. Dreaming is a spiritual path. I like that. Never thought of it like that. Yeah.
So I feel about ready to end this.
Yeah.
Do you
I feel
think?
I feel complete. Yeah, you do.
Wonderful. So, listeners, thank you for joining us on the Dream Stream. And as always, I want to invite you to send dreams, and then we can Zoom with you and explore the dreams you share. So, until then, until the next time, hold the mood, me to keep.